Hello and welcome back to Building Roots Abroad. In today's episode, our guest is Ana Paula. Ana is a Brazilian lawyer and accountant who, after 8 years working in a Big Four firm in São Paulo, made the decision to leave it all behind for a new beginning in Australia. She decided to move after facing one of the biggest challenges in her career back home: speak English. She was sometimes frustrated to ask her colleagues to help her translating the meetings and reports. She knew that the best way to do it herself was to move abroad. Now, not only she's a bilingual, but also managed to work at the same company she once represented in Brazil. This time, not just being able to understand the language, but working, living, and loving fully in English. Let's hear how Ana overcame language challenges and found herself building a whole new life so far from home. Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode of Building Roots Abroad. Today we are here with Ana, a big friend of mine who is now living in Australia and working as an accountant. So just to introduce yourself, Ana, can you tell us a little bit on how was the experience to pursue your dream of living abroad and learning English?
Yeah, sure. So the main reason to come to Australia was literally to learn English. Back home, the position that I was, they actually wanted me to speak English like fluently.
Nice.
And in 2016, I already had experience here in Australia. I was, well, maybe it's the time to come back and, stay a little bit longer and actually put all my efforts to learn English. I was working for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I was about to become a senior manager, and at some point, like, you have international clients, you have to speak English.
True.
And I was like, no, I want to be able to talk by myself. Like, I really want to be able to express myself and, explain the problems, because if they are my clients, I actually need to explain what are their problems. And then a lot of things happened between 2016 and 2020, which was the year that I decided come to Australia.
To finally come.
Yeah. So I'm here since then. Was basically to spend just 5 months, but it's been almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years. Yeah. So then in 2016, you came here just for holidays.
Yes, just I think it was 20 days.
20 days? Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Nice. And what was like telling people about your decision, your family, because you already had a solid life, I guess?
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. People from work, they actually could understand better because they knew how important it is when you speak English fluently. Like,
they supported
it is a thing. I think until now, like, you have a good English in general, but my family, especially my parents, they were like, you're crazy, you're leaving your career, like, it's a Big Four, you were there for so long. And you know what, I think it was the time for me, because I was 28, I wasn't married. I'm still not married, but no,
you didn't have a family.
No kids, nothing. Was exactly the perfect time to,
do an exchange.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you think like people from work, they were more supportive?
People from work, they actually thought that I would be back.
So they thought you're coming because it was just 5 months. So it's just like one semester.
Yes. Because when I left the company, I was in a non-paid leave. So
was in a leave then?
Yes.
Oh, so they actually expected in the contract that you're gonna come.
I was with them for more 1 year, but not receiving any salary, but I was still their employee. If something happened to me, I could come back home. My job would be there. So, but because it was during COVID, first of all, I couldn't come back.
Yeah.
And second of all, after I met my partner and everything, and then they called me, say, hey, what about now? Like,
what about coming back?
And I was like, well, now my life is here. I'm not coming back. Thank you so much. They were still very, very nice. I'm still friends with them.
Nice. So that's very important to mention, because I think people don't know about some Big Fours, I assume, because my sister was also working one of them. They can give you 1 year leave. So then you can maybe leave overseas for a semester, and then you can come back and then still work for them. Yeah. Which is very cool.
They are very flexible. I think mainly because if you are doing a good job, in general, not just me, they'd rather to keep you than hire someone else and from the scratch, teach everything. They were like, okay, you can have your break as long as you come back and you're still with us. But in my case, was just, I couldn't. The borders were closed. Everything was locked out. And I was like, I can't come back.
Yeah.
And plus, I actually don't want to come back.
Yeah, which is
So,
the main point.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. So then when you say you moved to Australia to learn English, which I think is already a challenge itself, how was your first jobs and how you managed to went from office and corporate world to actually start working in other type of jobs because you're still learning the language?
Yeah. So when I came to Australia, I thought my English was like intermediate. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we call. And then after probably 2-3 days, I was like, well, my English is not that good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, very hard at the beginning, especially again because of the situation that the world was living, and I didn't have too many interactions. Was hard to actually expose myself to this like environment.
Yeah.
But once I got the job, which was my first job, I work as an au pair as well.
Au pair, yeah.
But my first real job, I would say, was as a waitress, and wasn't easy because English is already hard, but Australian accent is harder. Plus, it's not just Australian accent. There are so many people here that you literally. Oh, sorry. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, everyone has their own accent. Yeah.
Yeah. So after these 2 years, I thought my English was pretty good, and plus I did have a partner back then, and
the partner was
he was Australian.
Oh,
yes.
native
So
speaker.
he could like he was actually helping me a lot. So after spending 2 years, speaking English every day, I decided, well, I think it's time to come back to the corporate environment.
Nice.
That's when I realized my English, again, wasn't that good. What I mean by that was the daily based vocabulary that I was using was completely different from the
corporate.
How do we say, the technical vocabulary that I had to use. So it was again a big challenge for me because, well, I do know how to speak English, I do know how to communicate it, but the technical stuff was something that I had to learn as well. And even though I did have experience in Brazil, it's different because I work with tax and the law is completely different.
Yeah, between Australia and Brazil.
So it's already hard when it's not your language.
Yeah, it's even harder.
So was a big point in my career where I thought maybe I'm not good enough, and then you start all these internal questions about your potential.
Yeah. And how did you overcame this problem? Do you think it was just time that helped you because you got used to, or did you do anything to overcome this problem?
Well, I think it was basically two things. First of all, my ex-partner, he was very, very supportive in a way that he was like, look, you can speak 2 languages. I can't. So
just do your best.
You're already doing a lot of than most of people. So don't be scared. Don't be shy. You're doing great. And I was always worried about my accent as well. And he was, look, no one cares. Don't worry about that. So that was a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
And the second one was, once I was having this kind of incentive at home, I was, you know what? I need to learn this. So the only way that I'm going to learn is asking, because even though you think it's stupid questions, sometimes it's not. You actually are showing that you are interested to learn, you're showing that you're willing to do the right thing. And I think people appreciate that.
Yeah, great. Talking about work still, how was your path to get to work in the same company you were working back home? You had to kind of from scratch come back to the Big Four you were working. So how was this path? How did you make it?
That actually was an interesting thing because when I started thinking about this job to come back to the corporate environment, I've talked to some friends in Brazil, the ones from work, and they were like, why you don't try at this place? And I'm like, well, because I don't know anybody. And they were, maybe try this way, try that way. And it was, I don't know. This is so embarrassing. You just
reaching out.
Yes. And then that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I literally went through LinkedIn. I've messaged 3 partners. It was very embarrassing where I just said, hey, my name is Ana. I have 80 years of experience at this company. I would like to know if you want to catch up, have a coffee, please tell me and we can make this work. And then from these 3 partners, 2 of them replied, and I had an interview with the first one, and then I had another interview with two more partners from the same department, and then I got the job.
That's so cool.
Was basically like putting my face out there saying, look, I want to get this job. Just give me a chance.
And I have the skills, of course.
Yes. But I think something it's very important to mention, like even now in this new company,
that's just for context. I think that context we didn't give. So she was working this Big Four in Brazil, and then she got the job, the first job in accounting, I guess, in Australia, was in the same Big Four company. But then afterwards, she got another job in another Big Four that is not the same. Yeah.
So I just want to mention that in both situations, I'm starting from the scratch.
Yeah, so you're starting from scratch, meaning that it's not that you got transferred.
No,
you're always like reaching out to people.
Yeah, because in Brazil I was a manager, but here I started as a consultant, and then after a year, and I worked at this first company for 1 year-ish. But I knew that I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
And then I got this job at the second company, again as a consultant, because when they said, what do you want to do? I said, can you please give me a chance to start from the scratch? Because I rather to ask questions than having people assuming that I already know everything.
Yeah, so it's good.
I knew that I wasn't prepared, because my first experience in the first company wasn't that great. And I was so insecure, with all these things about language and everything.
Okay.
I thought, well, I'm not 100% sure that I can be even like a senior or whatever they want. And I prefer to start from the scratch, which is, you could see from both sides. Yeah, it is a little bit hard, like start again after spending so long, like trying your best to do. But at the same time, I see this from a different perspective. Yeah. Where I really don't mind to start it again and again if I know this is just going to make me better in the future.
That's so good, because I think it's a very great advice, especially for myself, and I think a lot of people that are listening, because sometimes we don't want to step back on our career because we're just running out of time. And then especially living abroad, is so frustrating sometimes that you have to do other kind of jobs, or even in your case, you were already a manager, and then when you finally get a job, you get a job as a consultant, because of course it's not your native language, you're not super aware of the law, but you get the job, you're still keen to step back and still being a consultant to learn more. Yeah. Which I think, even talking about myself, is something very brave to do, because you're there showing that you're willing to learn, not necessarily, I want this salary, I want this position. Yes. Which probably will make you better in the future, because you don't get the pressure now to be perfect in a language that is not even yours. Yeah.
But I feel like now, first of all, at this company, I feel way more confident about my English, which is great. So, and people are very nice to me as well. Nice. Like they don't mind to help me out. They are willing to teach me, which is great. Like, this is the main thing about this second company, that I really, really like it. But, and of course, I can't lie to you that money is important. Of course, money is important. However, for me, why I would get a job in a senior position if I can't attend their expectations? So,
that's so great.
Yeah, I could actually get more money, but they would say, well, she's not the right person, she's not prepared. Where now in my position, they were like, oh, you're pretty good,
because you're a consultant, so they're happy that you're growing.
And for me, it's not about being good or not, but they can see that I have experience. So I rather exceed their expectations,
upskilled than underskilled.
Exactly. And then maybe in the future, why we are so anxious about the future, because everyone is in this position and I'm not in this position. Well, because I make different choice.
Yeah, so, especially for you, talking about back in São Paulo, you probably see a lot of friends of yours that they are maybe partners. Yeah, they probably have similar age. Yeah. So then it's very easy for us in general to compare ourselves, especially because you have the ruler to compare yourself.
But for me, I completely get it. That was my thought for a long time. But now for me, what I have here, I couldn't have in Brazil.
Nice.
So I'm fine with that. Like, I'm fine with this company. I'm very happy, actually. So
nice. Yeah, I think it's very similar to the question I want to ask you now, which is when you return to the big four world in Australia, how different did that feel from your time in São Paulo? So does, because they are the same company, yes, but the culture is very like even the office culture can be different,
Yes.
even if it's the same kind of organization.
Yeah.
How was this? Like, you don't need to exactly compare the company one or two, but more like the countries.
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of suspect to say about Brazil because I love Brazil. People that I used to work with, they are actually my friends now. So we actually built a very strong relationship, even though like I don't talk to them every day, but
Yeah.
every time when I go to Brazil, we see each other, we catch up. So they are very, very good for me.
Yeah.
And plus, I can't compare exactly because I spent 80 years in Brazil. Here, I'm like 1 year-ish in one company and 3 months in another one.
Oh,
so
okay, 3 months.
I would say the relationship that I built in Brazil, it's definitely not the same because the culture is completely different. I spent so much time in Brazil comparing with here, so it is different. But I could say I feel in Australia we definitely need to do more things in our own.
Okay.
We need to figure things out, like I would say we need to be more independent in this way, where I felt in Brazil I got so many support,
Okay. Team team kind of work together.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So friendship wise, you would say, of course, Brazil is better because it's been more years and is your culture. Also, like the team collaboration in Brazil is better.
Yeah.
But what about the office culture? Knowing myself that in São Paulo, maybe you work more hours and in Australia it's more easygoing.
It's interesting because in Brazil, I used to work sometimes like 12 hours, 13 hours.
In a day.
In a day, yes. And I really didn't care that much. For me, that was the normal thing.
Maybe because also the team was very...
Yes.
Bound together, yeah.
But here, I can't complain at all because it's literally from 8:30 to 5, and that's it. Of course, there are a few days that you need to work a little bit more, but the thing is, 5 p.m. everyone
that's
is
true.
leaving, which is great. I love that. That's why I'm in the right place.
That's why worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do need to work. We do need to work harder as an immigrant, but nothing compared to Brazil. Nothing compared what I used to do. And again, I'm not criticizing because I feel like that's how we've been teaching and learning for so long that
back home. Yeah.
Then we think, okay, yeah, that's fine. Because if you are not working 13 hours, someone else is working like 18, 20.
Like the competition there is so hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to do these things to get your position, to show that you are
that's
a
hard.
good professional. And here, there are people who work more.
Over hours, yeah.
But my personal concept about this, not just in Australia, Brazil, it's a little bit different because working later doesn't mean that you are better. Sometimes it just means that you are not efficient during your day.
Yeah. So you feel the way the company is change a lot between the two countries. So of course, relationship wise and everything, Brazil is better. Yeah. But you think in Australia they push you to be more efficient in that amount of hours, while there's this culture of working a lot, but not necessarily you are working harder.
Yes.
It's just like because you know that if you don't show that you're working a lot, someone else can get your job or your position or your promotion.
Absolutely.
Interesting. That's very good insights, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
Comparing everything. So just the last few questions. How has your experience living and working in Australia changed your perspective, like on career or personal goals? Like,
I think this question actually has a little bit connection what we just said before. My goals in Brazil were kind of different because I just thought that I had to work so hard to get where I wanted. And here I feel like, well, if I do the right thing, maybe it's not going to take that long. So probably my goals are basically the same, but I feel here I can still have a good lifestyle. I don't need to, you know, um,
Run
run.
and do
Yes,
everything at the same time.
yes. So I feel like Australia gives me this, I don't know if it's a false belief, but that everything's gonna be alright.
Nice.
And I don't need to push myself so hard and blah, blah, blah. No, just do the right thing. It's not working harder, it's working smarter.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
what I think.
sense. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so considering the goals and all the perspectives that we talk about that you had in Australia now, is there any specific moment that helps you building your confidence in your career overseas? Do you record anything that made you more confident on working abroad?
Well, I would say mainly the experience that I had in this first company. Back then, I was so frustrated with myself. I wasn't happy,
With
you know,
the
with the language. And then now in this second company, I feel so much better in a way that, yes, now I can understand why I had that experience, because now I feel more prepared. The first experience molded me in a point
to express yourself
to
better.
express myself. Yes.
That's good. I think I can relate to this experience. I also worked in another agency before working the agency I am at the moment. And I felt that experience was, oh, maybe I'm not learning anything. And I was like, what? I'm just losing my time. And then when I started the second agency, I had much more power because I was like, oh, now I know what to say. Now I know at least the terminologies and the vocabulary.
Exactly.
I was like, yeah, I'm not super professional. I'm not super skilled, but just the fact that I had 1 year in the other agency, I felt much more prepared to work in the second one, which was actually better. And yeah.
So sometimes we don't understand what's going on, why we are doing that, but trust me, in the future we're gonna say, oh, maybe that's why.
That's
Now I
why.
know more.
Yeah, now I feel more confident. That's a good one. So talking about advice, looking back, what advice would you give to professionals who are in a similar situation you were back in 2020? So people that are listening and they are in the same position as you, they have built their careers overseas, in their country, sorry. And they really want to learn a new language or have the experience even for a semester. How do you think they should go about it to be brave enough,
I would say the first thing that I would say would be set up your goals. Write down exactly what is important to you.
Yeah.
And if you think that those things that you just listed includes living abroad, I would say just go. That's the first thing that for me was I have to do this. Plus, this is the second thing.
Yeah.
Together with the first one would be you cannot be pride. In my opinion, you just need to be so humble. Yes, I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done to get there. Of course, always putting your values first and everything. But if you come to another country, if you go to another country and you are so full of yourself, trust me, you're gonna have problems. Probably more than most of people, because you just need to give some steps back to actually go forward.
That's so beautiful.
That's one of the things. And I would say the last one, just try. Just have a goal. It is hard to kind of leave a lot of things that we built behind. But if you think about what is in the future, you're gonna see, yeah, it's fine. I don't need those things. True. I don't need those things. What I'm about to receive is much greater than what I had. So that's what I think about future in Australia in general. Yeah. I left my family. Wow, this is hard. Friends, yes, it is hard. And yes, car, apartment, yeah, those things actually doesn't matter now, because what I'm trying to build, apart from family and friends, of course.
Yeah, you cannot replace it.
Yeah. But what I'm expecting to build in Australia, hopefully, it's greater than what I had in Brazil.
Yeah. And I think just on my perspective as well, when we say, oh, you're going to leave things behind because then you're going to pursue better things, I think even if we leave certain things behind, they are part of us. Absolutely. So even if she did leave her career behind, was still her career, was still her experience.
Yes.
And it was actually what made her the person she's now. Yeah. So I think even for me sometimes, or other people that they think about, oh, I should move in another country now, I should move back home, I should move to a third country.
you feel you're gonna lose everything or put things behind, but you're already another person.
Yes.
So this will help you a lot to go forward and get greater things, as you said.
If I didn't have all those experience, probably I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, working as an accountant in one of the Big Fours again. And also because you mentioned about your life in Australia, I think is very related to our like wrap up question, the last question, the closing question. What does building roots abroad mean to you? And I think on top of that, do you feel you built your roots in Australia?
Well, it is hard because yes, Australia is a place that I want to live, but Brazil is a place that I supposed to be.
Yeah, that you belong. Yeah.
Exactly. So I do miss a lot my friends and family for sure. Especially I have 3 nephews, you know, a beautiful godson. So this actually affects and impacts my life a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, like I can't see myself living in Brazil again. So I feel like Australia is my place, at least for the next few years. I'm not sure about the future because we never know about the future.
Yeah, of course.
But things that I have in Australia, I can't have in Brazil. And things that I have in Brazil, I can't have in Australia.
Can you just mention like 2 or 3?
Lifestyle. My lifestyle is just, I love my lifestyle. Like
Here.
I'm a morning person, so I usually wake up 4:30 a.m. and then
Which is very Queenslander.
And then I take my dog to the park and then go to the gym and then go to the office in less than 30 minutes. And then coming back home 5 p.m., 5:30, 25, I'm already home.
Yeah, because we don't have of course, 1/4 of the traffic we have in São Paulo. So our city is very like quite good sized, I would say, Brisbane.
Yeah, and so one thing that I have in Brazil is my family and friends.
And the culture?
Yeah. And then here would be my lifestyle, and I would say the safety here. It's
safety, yeah, big one.
Way better. Because for me, like I was even telling you earlier, I've lost my purse this morning and I wasn't even that worried. I was, oh yeah, probably someone found it. And then in less than 2 minutes, he just found my purse. And I was just thinking, wow,
this couldn't happen back home.
I live in Australia because I don't need to worry that much. People, they actually don't care.
Yeah.
Most of people, they have the same social-economic
social level financially.
But again, friends, family, and I would say friendship in general. When I say friendship, like
how
you can see your friend at any time when you are sad, when you are happy. You wanna just celebrate. In Brazil, like we have more connection. I feel not just with friends,
with anyone.
Family. Your mom, can you please come over? Or you just visit your mom and then you get a bunch of food. We don't have this here, so yes. There are few things that I have there that I would never have here.
Yeah, I think it's a good closing reflection because it's good that you're, you know, emotionally that you have those things that you cannot have here and those things that you cannot have there. And then you chose to have Australia things, even if Brazilian things exist, which I think is the biggest challenge. We just want to balance everything and just want to, I want these things from Australia, but with people from Brazil, and sometimes you just need to realize which one I like the most and stop complaining, I guess.
Exactly, because it's not about you liking your family and family less. It's just, look, my priorities now are different. And even though I love them, like in the depths of my heart, the future that I want to build, unfortunately, is not in Brazil. So
which is good.
I can't have everything that I want.
Yeah.
So if I have to pick something, I prefer to build a family in Australia.
Build your roots in Australia then.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. So thank you very much for all your insights. I think a lot of people will love to hear your story and all the reflections. And I'm pretty sure like Ana is very open to anyone that wants to reach out to her on LinkedIn. As she said, LinkedIn, you can actually open doors. So yeah, I would just leave this information for you guys. And thank you so much for being here. And everyone that is listening, thank you so much for supporting us. Do you want to say anything to close the episode?
Well, just thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. It was a really nice chat. And yeah, see you next time then.
See you next time, guys. Thank you.